Sandra if you haven't been here before. Today's video is all about all of the habit trackers and mood trackers that I have done in every single one of my bullet journals since I've started. I did have to actually write everything down because I forgot which bullet journals were in like which books, like which years. So I started in 2018 August, and because I started halfway through the year, it was in a separate book. I went through 3 books in 2019, and I went through 4 books in 2020, and this year I'll have gone through 3 books again. So what we're going to do is go through each of these in order, starting with my very first bullet journal, and I'm going to show you how my style has changed. But basically, I feel like there's a lot of people that want to track things in their bullet journal and they don't know how to set up a spread. They don't know how to go about doing it. So I'm hoping that this gives you some ideas and inspiration for things that you can track in your own bullet journal. So for the most part, these are just going to be mood trackers and habit trackers. We're going to start with 2018, and this is August. So the very first one is this mood tracker. So this one was a mood tracker, but this was my very first one. So I didn't know what to actually track. I wasn't sure, whether to just track sad and happy and medium, like in between that, or if I should track all of these things. So I ended up trying to track every single one of these things, and it was a mess. I didn't finish it. I think there might have been other ones I didn't finish, but I can see that I didn't finish it because obviously when you start doing something every day, you have to turn it into a habit in order to do that, right? So it took me some time to start tracking every single day. I know that is one of the things people struggle with, is maintaining it throughout the month. So I would suggest, if you wanted to start tracking anything, start off small and only do a couple of things, 3 or 4, no more than that, and then you can add every month. So here I used all of these different colors, and the biggest thing with this is that it was so confusing. I couldn't look at this and say, okay, I was really happy, it was really sad, it was stressed out. So it was just difficult to look back and see how I was feeling at that time. So I wouldn't recommend doing this at all. So moving on to the next one now. This was my very first habit tracker. This one I wanted to do in the colors I was using for the month. And as you can see, I tracked 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 things. So some of the things I was really good at doing and some of them not so good. I actually, I'm looking at my reading here, I hardly read it all. But yeah, so at least I showed myself that I could follow through for the entire month, and that's what I like to see. So this one was very messy. You'll notice that this was in a lined notebook, so I wasn't even in a dot grid notebook because I didn't have one at the time. So the next trackers, my mood tracker and my energy tracker. This is the first time that I actually started making the trackers look like my spread theme. And that's one thing that you can do to decorate. You can either do a plain tracker, like in a graph form, and decorate the sides of the page, or you can be completely functional and just have it in a huge graph, like you'll see I do later on in my bullet journal style. But this is one way you can do it as well. So you can really decorate your spreads by using different shapes from the theme that you choose. And if you don't use a theme, that's perfectly fine as well. You can make it cute with doodles around the page. You can use different colors, and that helps to lighten up your spreads as well. So the next one is my October, and I love this one. I actually found this on Pinterest, and I can't remember where it was, but it was not my original design, and I just thought it was so beautiful because I love sugar skulls, and that this is what that reminds me of. So this was a lot easier to track because I had 4 different types of levels of happiness to track, and that made it a lot easier. And then you can also see the general trend. My one recommendation for this is make your colors you can have them in the same color family, but make them as different as you can so you can actually see the pattern, because some of these 2 here look really similar, so it's hard for me to tell exactly how I was feeling. So if you are looking at it by color. So the last one in this notebook was for my November, And here it is. So a lot of times you'll see me use habit tracker boxes like this. A lot of people use those types of trackers, and then you simply write what you're tracking at the top, and then you can put the numbers in, or you don't have to. You could even put the days across the top if you wanted to, and then you color in each square as you do it. And of course, if you've done the habit, you either do it that evening or you do it the next day. So I always do it the next morning so that I know whether I've actually done the habit, because sometimes I'll do things late at night. And then this one, the mood tracker, I drew all these little doodles and then just colored them in accordingly. So that's the last one in this bullet journal. So that was my very first journal. So my very next journal was the Scribbles That Matter. It was a deep burgundy red color. And this was one of the original Scribbles That Matter journals. So this was my first habit tracker and mood tracker for Christmas. And you can see, like, if you guys have watched my channel and any of my lettering, actually, I'll show you an example here. Let's break out my newest notebook. I'll see if I have some examples in here to show you. Okay, so for instance, I know we're looking at this, but I've gone from this to this. So you can see how my lettering has also improved over time. So this is about 3 years now, and it's just a matter of picking up your brush pen every day and practicing, and it's as simple as that. So this one, I didn't even draw boxes around it. I just literally like wrote down the numbers because, you know, to make it easy on yourself and something that you can follow through with. And then this at the bottom, I had just started thinking about starting up my YouTube channel. So I didn't start it until February, but it was in this journal when I started. And then this is the Christmas tree. And Christmas is so much fun because if you are into Christmas spreads, there's so many different things that you can do for trackers. This was my January spread. So in this one, I actually did a line graph for my mood tracker, which was interesting. So it was showing me going from like really, really happy. It looks like I did it backwards because happy is over here. But I was really happy and then I got really, really sad. And like you can also see that the colors I use match my theme. So this was February. This is when I started my channel. It was actually the 15th. And this is the first spread I showed on Instagram, I'm pretty sure. So this one, obviously, habit tracker, I left it as is. I am tracking quite a few things here. This stuff I didn't do at all. So I think that's another trick, that if you notice that you don't track something and you're not doing it from month to month, there's no point carrying it forward the next month, right? It's like kind of coincides with your goals a little bit because you've got your goals, you break them down into quarterly goals and monthly goals, and then you break that down into weekly and daily habits or tasks that you do. And instead of adding them to the month, because I don't want to rewrite journal every day in my daily, so that's why it pays to have it in your habit tracker. But if you are having trouble following through with a monthly habit tracker, that might be more beneficial. Just add it to your daily task list. But I like this mood tracker because it did make hearts, and I just thought it went so well with the theme. It was so cute. So the next one was my Mario theme. I loved this so much, you guys, because I love the colors. It was so primary and just so cute. But I like the little shells. I was so proud of this. It was my first official video on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. And I remember being scared about copyright infringement. But if you're drawing it yourself, it's a little bit different. But yeah, this one I did the shadowing on the back, and it just kind of changes the whole aesthetic of any boxes or whatever that you do. So then the next one was my April one. Again, I still stuck with the color gray because that was my theme for the month. This was my cover page here, and I did little raindrops, so I thought that was kind of cute as well. Okay, so moving on to the next journal, which would have been my indigo paper blanks. This was like one of my favorite journals. I used it so much that the binding, where maybe I glued it back together, but the binding actually came apart. Okay, so this one has a lot of things in it here. So this was my very first one, and my theme was hibiscus, which was my favorite flower. It still is. And again, I just drew little flowers and the basic grid style. So as we go through, you'll see that I do change it up a bit. So here's the first time I've changed it. This was a graph, and instead of writing the words, I use little icons. This was the first time I tried that, and it was a little hard for me to remember what they were. So another piece of advice would just be to write it out, or write it out and then put the icon beside it, and keep doing that month to month so that you remember what they are. And here I decided to track tons of different feelings. Probably not the best thing, because if you use multiple colors, again, you can't really look back and say, okay, I know exactly how I was feeling here. I think the easiest way is like a bar graph or a line graph, and just pick, really happy to like really angry, and then go from there. Okay, the next one, this is probably my favorite month. I love the green colors, and I wouldn't mind doing another type like this, like something to do with green and leaves. But this was a habit tracker. See, I stuck with it this time, and I tried to remember what they were. It was a little hard. Honestly, the color here doesn't really matter. You could use the same color or different colors. I just wanted it to look different. And then the mood tracker, this was just continuing on doing my my inhaler. I'm pretty sure that was my inhaler for day and night. And then this was my mood. And then the last one in this journal was my August one for the fruit theme. I decided to do a pineapple, and it was kind of cool, but if you put your numbers, they're not just like left to right. So it's hard to keep track of like when the day was to what mood you felt like. I feel that this is harder to look back and see exactly how you were feeling what time of the month, especially if you want to track your cycle or how it corresponds to sleep or something like that. I feel a graph form is a lot easier to track. All right, so moving on to number 4 now. This was my second Scribbles That Matter. Again, this was the original one. This was my first one. I remember this was when I was pregnant. This is the video that I told everybody that I was having my daughter, that I was pregnant with my daughter. And I loved this because it was my first watercolor, my official watercolor spread. And I used lots of washi tape. It was so pretty. And yeah, I feel like this is a little bit easier to track, so you can see what you're doing consecutively all the time and what you're not. And I thought this one was really cute. And this was the next one. Again, I switched it up, so I made the boxes look like little brick boxes, and I love this. I found this on Instagram or Pinterest as well, and I like that it looks like a heart, because that was like roses and hearts were the theme. So that was really pretty. It looked really delicate. Again, it's a little bit harder to see what day you were like happy and sad. This was March. And I like this as well. So you can set up your graphs different styles just to make it look different. And here is where I actually pulled in a sleep tracker. So I was tracking my sleep because I was pregnant, and I just wanted to see how much sleep on average every night I would get. And I think the reason I wasn't sleeping this much on purpose, like this is the most sleep I've probably ever got in my life since having my son, but it was because I was pregnant and I was always tired is why I was getting so much sleep, because now I think I average about 3 or 4 hours a night. The next one was the mood tracker. So again, it's a bit difficult to see how I was feeling compared to the date, but it looks aesthetically pleasing. That was it for that journal. And now this was the last journal for 2019, I'm pretty sure. Yes, okay. So this was my Archer and Olive. This was the first Archer and Olive I used, and I remember feeling I had, I just felt sick to my stomach when I was in this journal, because I was pregnant and just not feeling so great. So I love this. And now this style was actually taken from Helen Colebrook. So I'll link her channel if you want to check out her art, but she does both monthly bullet journal setups as well. And she's a bit more functional, I find, but the way she did her artwork and her habit tracker, I just loved it so much. And I wanted to do a rainbow theme, which I thought was really neat. and it turned out good. Again, it's harder to follow the icons, and I love this style of lettering. I think I found this on Instagram. And then with Mood Tracker, I wanted it to match, so I just did these boxes kind of nested in each other. And then the next one, I did do this in my very first bullet journal, but I did it again because it matched my theme this month. So the habit tracker, this is a different style. I don't think I've ever done one like this in the previous journals. And it's really nice to look at because you can see when you did something, but I think what would help is putting the actual days in, because sometimes, like for instance here, if I hadn't done anything, I lost track of the days and I didn't know, what the next day was. So it would be helpful to write the numbers in. It's just a little bit of extra work. Okay, the next one was my crystal theme. I loved this one. And again, the mood tracker was all the different little types of crystals. A habit tracker was little boxes. And I did go fewer on the boxes. So another tip too is, like, when you are tracking all of your things you want to track, eventually they'll become second nature and become part of your routine. And then you no longer have to track them because you're doing them as part of a routine every single day. So once that starts to happen, you can slowly let it go and start tracking something new that you want to start working on and you haven't yet, or something that you find that you just don't do as much as you want to and you want to track it. Another way to track things would be to see how often you do them, especially if you're not sure, kind of like time tracking. So that's a good tip as well. And again, Christmas trackers, I really have fun with them because it just looks so bright and pretty. And I really liked this light bulb one. So this is April of 2020 now. This was April, and I loved this one. This was actually another watercolor theme. It was my April spread, and I think this got a lot of views on YouTube, but it's just so pretty. I just love all of the colors, and I saw something similar to this online, and I recreated it in my own fashion for myself. And then this one, I had a sleep tracker again because I was pregnant. I decorated the page a little bit with this. And then this was my mood tracker here. Okay, then this was May. So again, the colors coordinate with my theme. And this one was my May Daisy theme. I loved this cover page. It was so nice. This is actually in a Leuchtturm journal, so the pages are a lot more thin and you can actually see the background behind. And the next one was my ocean theme. I liked this one as well. I kind of got bored with the blue color though, to be honest. I really like changing the color. Like, as you can see in a lot of my spreads, there are multiple colors and I do get bored. So this one, I actually managed to stay with one color. I think I used a zebra mound liner for this entire spread. And also I have my habit tracker and mood tracker on the same page, and that was just to minimize space. Depending on your monthly setup, it just kind of depends what you've decided to make for your spreads. The next one is my orange dingbats. I'm pretty sure this was the tangerine Serengeti. I liked all the names that dingbats came up with. The first one was my koi fish theme. And I really also enjoyed putting these tabs on the months. And I think I'm going to do that going forward because it's just easier to find your monthly spread. But this was the cover page. And then this was the trackers. So my mood tracker was koi fish. I love this. This was probably my favorite journal to journal in, to be honest. I love the paper. The paper reminds me of the Rhodiorama or any Rhodia journals. And then the habits were just in these boxes, but I did use these kind of like banners to put the word mood and tracker. So the next one was August, and this was my drink theme. So my habit tracker again was a different graph type style. This was the point graph, I guess, or technically like a line graph, but I mean, my mood changed quite a bit. And it does look a little bit confusing because of all the colors I used. I do that more for an aesthetic appeal, but if you wanted to just keep it nice and neat, you just use a black pen and you can see it easier, I think. The same thing with here. Okay, so then the last one was my September theme. And again, this one was one of my favorites. I just loved it so much. It was my cacti theme. And then this was my mood and habit tracker. And I like how they look so different. I liked that I had green on this page to kind of go with the green here, but then I also used brown to track it, and it just looks so pretty. It's probably one of the neater trackers I've had in my journal. Okay, so now moving on to my next Archer and Olive. This was my first B5 from Archer and Olive. This was my October theme. And the mood tracker was on this page. So I did it in watercolor. It was like these watercolor markers with a brush tip. And then I remember doing, that's right. So right here, the habits, I decided to try out weekly habits, and it isn't as scary, right? It's more doable. So this is a good option for those of you who find it hard to keep, filling out the monthly habit tracker. The next spread was my Eye of Horus, and I liked this one too. At first it was going to be a magic spread, and then I completely changed it to like the purple, the gold, and the black. So that's what happened there. And then this was my tracker. So I put them on one page because the pages were so much bigger. So mood tracker and habit tracker. And you can see that it's easier to see the habit tracker, like what you've done. But again, I used, because I ran out of room, because I did it this way on the page instead of up and down, I didn't have a lot of room. So I used icons instead. And then the last spread in this one was my Christmas spread. So instead of doing the general Christmas theme spread that I've been doing every single year, I wanted to change it up. So I used these colors instead. And for my tracker, I kind of carried it through to be the same thing, but I used wreaths and candy canes and then just colored them accordingly. So I used like dark blue, light blue, and gray. And you know what? I didn't know if I loved the color scheme as much, but it's you can have fun with it. You can change the colors, you can do it in black and white, do whatever you want. Just make it fun for you. Okay, so we're down to 3 journals, you guys, and the last one is my current journal, which I'll share with you. So this was another Archer and Olive, but it was the floor, like this leaf floral design. So the first, oh, and this is like one, I didn't actually put monthly tabs on this. I stopped doing it. So this one was using part of the Simply Gilded subscription kit for January, and I liked that. It was kind of like supposed to be like horoscope, and it was my Aries symbol there. So my first one was the mood tracker. So I did this in warm gray, and I just simply did graph style, and because I didn't do it this way, I wanted to change it. I did 2 parts, so first to the 16th and then the rest of the month. Okay, the next one was my cupcake and coffee theme, and that was for February. And I realized at the end that I forgot the R for February, so that was bad, but I fixed it in I had a digital download, but I fixed it. So then these again were graph styles, but I changed the font, and then I just wrote these out here. And then the next one was my March theme. So this was feathers, and it was a pastel theme. And this was my habit tracker and my mood tracker. Again, I kind of stuck with the same graph style, the entire bullet journal. And then the very last one was a black and white theme. So this was this one here. It was like a building theme. And then again, the same graph style, but I did change the font once more. And you'll slowly see that I've increased the number of things I'm tracking. So this is a lot. And like I said before, I would not recommend a newbie start out with so many trackers. All right, we're down to the last 2. So this is the journal number 10. This is the one I just actually filmed to do a flip through. And I'm just going to share with you the cover pages because you have already seen these in the initial setup. and the trackers. So this was May for this year, for 2021. And this was an acrylic paint. Here was my tracker. So again, something similar to what Helen Colbrook likes to do. I put the date at the top, the numbers, and then you track all of your things with this cute pattern. And then I added washi tape to decorate it. And then for the mood tracker, I kind of stuck with the design I had on the front and then just filled it out accordingly. Okay, the next one was for June, and this is probably one of my favorite, I guess, monthly themes. I just loved how it turned out. This was watercolor. And this was the trackers. So habit tracker, simple, elegant, a lot of things I track now. And then I did this jellyfish theme, which looks kind of cute, but I stuck with these particular colors here. And then the very last one was my July. It was my bee theme. And simple. I used honeycombs for the mood tracker with a few bees to decorate the page, and then little squares. And I don't know what happened here, but you know, I hardly did any of some of these things. Like I did do it throughout the entire month, but I did read a lot this summer. Okay, and then moving on to my very last bullet journal. So this is the one I'm still in. And I'm going to just try to find the monthly cover pages for you so you can kind of see what my theme is. So this was August. It was my watermelon theme. My tracker. So this is kind of what I've been sticking with now. So I do this graph style tracker, but I don't actually draw the graph. I just have the title at the top, the things I'm tracking, the dates from like the 1st to the 30th or 31st of the month, and then I track them as I go. I usually add some washi tape to the bottom. And then the mood tracker, I've been loving this. This is a bar type graph. I don't think I've done one similar to this. Usually it's like a dot graph or something. But I like this because I've been alternating the colors. I get bored. If it's just one color, I get so bored, you guys. So that's why I did that. And this watermelon washi tape kind of inspired the colors. And it was perfect for this theme, to be honest. So then the theme that I'm currently in, so right now we're in September. I'll probably show you my October cover page as well, because by the time this video posts, we're going to be into October or maybe November. So here's my September theme. I use the Archer and Acrylograph pens, the Acrylograph paint pens for this. And this is my tracker. So you can see we're not even halfway through the month. And I kind of did the same thing. I feel like I'm tracking so many things, but these are the things I don't do every single day. Sometimes I used to forget to draw in my doodle a day page. It's my challenge for the month. And there's a lot of things I don't do every day that I need to really start. So a lot of the other things that I used to track, I finally started doing that stuff every day. So again, my mood tracker, it's kind of like some purple tones in this month's theme. So I did light purple and violet. And then for October's theme, a little sneak peek, but you've probably already seen this video posted. I've been wanting to do this forever, you guys, but I finally did my magic theme. So here she is. And I love it so much. I added this Tim Holtz Distress ink to the page, so I just love that. And the setup for the tracker is similar to what I've already been doing. So I'll probably just do this like bronzy gold color and black for the mood tracker. But that's it. So I hope it gave you some inspiration as to how you can set up your sleep, mood, habits, anything like that. And let me know down in the comments if this video helped you at all. If you're new here, I would love if you would consider subscribing. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and also hit that bell button to be notified every time I upload a new video. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.